Yeah, you guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yeah, Gopi.
Okay. So I'm not sure. I sent an email to Vinay. I didn't get any reply from him. We will continue, and if he wants, we can share this recorded session. So yesterday we were discussing about the match specification and the properties which we have on the match specification window. Basically, the blocking and the match commands and the cutoff values, and we have seen the passes and the pass holding area and the few more windows we have seen in the match specification. Today I'm going to design a match specification and I will show you how we can test it from the match specification itself. And after that I can show you, I can design a job and I can show you how we can use this match specification inside that job. So both the things we are going to see today. So let me create a match specification now. So as I told you, go to new, go to match specification. So this is how your match specification looks like. So first of all, we are going to discuss with the reference dependent and duplicate dependent. So as we discussed, duplicate dependent, it will accept one input link and one frequency file link. So here where we need to give the metadata of that for that input link, so that we can test it from here from the configuration specification. Okay. So here I'm going to update the metadata first. So one more important thing which I need to explain it here is if you want to test the match specification from the match designer itself, then whatever the input you are giving, those are always should be data sets, not the sequential files. So if you go here, test environment, here it is asking the data set, not the sequential file. So if you don't want to test it from the match designer, then you can create in the sequential files also, because anyhow job can handle anything, sequential file or data set or database or whatever it may be. Specifically, if you want to test your match specification from the designer, it will always accept the data sets only. When you look at my screen, it is always asking the data sets, even the frequency file or even the data set also, the data input also. So that is one thing which you need to keep in mind. And the rest are like as it is, whatever we discussed. So let me update the metadata here. I'm going to load. This is what the metadata of that data set which we created while we are discussing about the standardization stage. So just I think few days back we discussed about the standardization, right? So whatever the output I have created there from the standardization job, the same data set metadata I'm using it here, because it's a continuous flow, right? Once the standardization is done, whatever the output you are creating from the standardization stage, that will act as an input for the match stage, and whatever the output you are creating from the match stage, that will act as an input for your survive stage. So we are done with the standardization stage. So whatever the output I have created, the same file output I'm using it here as a metadata. So the same columns you can see it here. So when I click on OK, now I have to define the pass information. So as I told you, the blocking which we need to specify it very first. So when I click on add, it will show you the columns which we have just imported, like through metadata. So these are the columns and these are the comparison type. As I told you, character comparison and numeric comparison. Right, basically the character comparison. See whatever the values you are seeing here, data type as a varchar. Only for those things you will set the character comparison. If you want to select numeric comparison, then that should be either integer or string, integer or numeric kind of thing. So let me select the state just for our example purpose. It is a varchar, and I'm applying the character comparison now. When I click on OK, so it will add the state in the blocking column. Just expand that and see. what type of comparison I have selected, character type comparison I have selected, and the column type as state. And if I add another one, then in the similar fashion, you can set another one and you can select either a character comparison or name the comparison. Like that, how many columns you want, you can simply add it here. All those things will add it here in the add, like in the blocking columns. So for now, just to show you the output in the match designer window, I'm selecting the state as my blocking criteria. Okay, and then match commands. So let me go to the match commands now. So this is how the match commands will property window will looks like. So here you need to select what is the match command, whatever the match command you want to apply on your input data. So let me take the name field, and these are the different types of match commands or match algorithms which are available in your by default in your match window. So there are some, see, if you go and look at your IBM website, so you can see few important, they have explained about few important algorithms. So in what case we will go with the uncertainty, in what case we will go with the character, in what case we will go with the count and difference, whatever you're seeing here, right? So they have explained a few things. So you just go through that, you will get some idea, like in what scenarios we are going to use this character and what scenarios we are going to use absolute difference kind of thing. So most probably we will use the character difference and ABS difference also, and this uncertainty. So most of the times we are going to use it. But if you want to use, like as per your requirement, what type of algorithm you want to select. So if you want to know about that, you just go through that site. Like in here we have help button. So if you just go to the help button, in that help button you can see what is the available comparison types. So you can see in one or two lines they have explained what is the importance of the ABS difference, what is the importance of the character kind of thing. So you just go through that and you will get some idea in what scenarios you need to use that. So accordingly you can select that. So for now I'm using the character comparison and I'm doing this one. When I add this one, this greater than symbol, it is automatically adding the name. And for now just keep it as it is, 0.9 and 0.91. We can see later on, like how we can override these things. So first we will just go with the basic. So once we get some idea how it is working, then we will discuss in depth. Okay, so right now I'm going apply. So when I click on apply, here we are seeing right under the match commands, it's showing what type of comparison we have selected and what is the name of that particular column. The command options are nothing but what is the M probability and what is the U probability. So it will automatically add here and under the match commands. So let's take the another one. Mm, okay, so the cutoff values and the clerical values don't specify anything for now. Okay, so basically we are not sure by this type of blocking and by this type of match commands, we are not sure how like what range of cutoff values or what range of weights it will generate. So what we are going to do is, we are for now we are not generating any kind of match commands or clerical records. um, so default values, I'm going to specify it as 0.9. So default values I'm going to specify, because right now I'm not sure like the type of algorithm, the type of the match commands which I have selected here, how it will generate the weight. So for now I just going with the default values. Once I test it and once I get the weights, so accordingly I can adjust these weights. Okay, so that like once I run this process, I will come to know what type of like what are the weights it is getting generated for each and every record. So based upon that, I can update my match and the clerical weights. Okay, so right now I'm done with my pass. If I want another pass, you can simply go to the add pass and you can add another pass here. So what is the use of multiple passes means, like, if there are multiple criteria for you to identify the blocking, multiple criteria to identify the matched records, then you can define different type of criteria. That means different type of blocking, different type of match commands. You can specify it here in another pass. So whatever the output it is getting generated from your pass, if you want to pass it to the second pass, then here we have different types of passes: unduplicate dependent, unduplicate independent kind of thing. Whenever you select unduplicate dependent, the output which is getting generated by your the first output or the first pass, that will act as an input for the second pass. And if you have any another pass, the second pass output will act as an input for the third pass. So it will go like that if you select unduplicate independent. If you go for the unduplicate, sorry, the functionality which I have explained, that is unduplicate dependent. If you go to the unduplicate independent, then what will happen is each pass will pass all your input data, and at the end it will club all the passes information and it will identify the groups. Okay, so that we will discuss about the functionality once we are done with this unduplicate dependent. So I'm just saying, if you want, you can add multiple passes, and if you have multiple passes, you can control the flow based upon the type of match that we are selecting it here. Unduplicate dependent or unduplicate independent or unduplicate trans2 kind of thing. We have different types of algorithms which are available here, or types of matches available here. So based upon that, you can control the flow in between the passes. So for now, I have defined just one pass. Later on, I will show you, like, how to add second pass and how we can define the blocking and commands and all those things. So for now, I have defined my input data and I have given the my pass, like, as a pass one, and I have selected the blocking and I have selected the commands, like, the name and zip, and the for the testing purpose, I have kept the default cutoff values. So now let me go to the test all process. Once I click on the test all process, it will ask you the configuration information. So when I click on OK, so it will come here. So first of all, let me pass my input data set. So yesterday we discussed about this window and what are all inputs, what type of the connection which we need to give it here. So let me give my data input. This is my data input. So this is a unduplicate match trace. So there is no use of giving this reference sample data set. So now I'm going to the frequency file. So I have given the input data set. I have given the frequency file. Now I'm going to select the ODBC connection. This one which you need to create it. So for our purpose, I have created the match DB, and I'm going to give my password. So that doesn't matter, like, for your data stage, whatever the database which you guys are using, whether that is data Oracle or MySQL or whatever the database you are using as a backend for your data stage, like, you can simply connect the connection from here, from there in the system DSN, and you can use that connection here in the admin, sorry, in this connection object. So right now, yesterday I have created, for our purpose, the match DB is our database name. So, and or else let me do one thing. I saved it. Yesterday I have saved it. Match specification. Mhm. Now I can go to the test all passes. So it will ask you to save the passes first of all. So if I go here, if I save current pass, then match specification only, I'm going to give here. If you want, you can give the relevant names also. So like what is the blocking criteria, what is the match comments here using. If you want a combination of state and name as a one pass, and state and address as one pass kind of thing. So that is just a temporary name I have given. If you want whatever the relevant names, if you feel, you can give that. So now I'm going to test all passes. Okay. So I will add it back. I think somehow the frequency information is not presented for that object 5 information. So let me remove that, and later on I will add another column. Yeah, if you look at this dialog box or the message box which you are seeing it here, so once your match process runs successfully, it will show you this command, sorry, this box, test runs completed for all active passes. Click on any pass to view the results. So I'm just click on OK. Now I'm going to match pass. So once I click on this one, it will show you the output or the match output. So let me maximize this one. Okay. So if you look at here, um, these are the actual columns which I am passing from my data: name, state, unique identifier. These are my actual columns which I am passing my input data. But if you look at here, it is adding some other some extra columns: set ID, record type, and weight, and data ID. Okay, so data ID is nothing but your input data, sorry, the file which you are passing as an input. In that, what is the row number? That is the data ID. So the third record which is coming in your input data, and 134 record which is coming in your input data, and 170 record which is coming in your input data. These three are forming as one group. The group name is 3. The group number is 3. And the weights which you are seeing it here, right? So 5.92, right? So my cutoff weight I just specified it as 0.9. So whatever the records you are getting the weight greater than match cutoff, all those are matched and duplicate records. So here you didn't see any clerical record. Clerical record means for any record, if you are getting the weight in between clerical and match, for those records it will keep the record type as CA or kind of thing, another code. But here, if you see, all are MPDAD and MPDAD, right? So that means the weight for these records, it is greater than your match cutoff value. Here that is 0.9. So that is the reason why you are seeing all your records as a matched records, matched and duplicate records. So that is the reason why you are seeing it here. And if you compare, like, here all are exact same, right? 6.51, 6.51, and 5.92. And let me see, is there any change in the weight? Okay, let me change the cutoff weight for now, and I will show you how the clerical records will form. And then I will try to change the data, and we will try to see how it is trying to identify the matched records and clerical records and duplicate records. So for now, with the default thing, I am not changing anything, and I just taking the output which is generated out by standardization stage, and the state and the name as my one is the blocking column, and another one is the name is my match commands, and the cutoff weight I will specify it as a zero. I specified it as a 0.9 and 0.5. Now I got the weights how it is generating here in my output. In the similar fashion, you need to do in real time also. So at very first time, you are not sure what is the match and what is the clerical values, or what is the weights it is going to be generated based upon your blocking and match commands. So basically, start with the default values, cutoff values, and start run with your set of data, and you can get, like, how the records are getting generated. And based upon this one, you can identify what you can specify as you can show these results, and you can identify what will be your cutoff values, like, what will be your match cutoff and what will be your clerical cutoff. Once you specify that, accordingly your report will get generated here. So for now, let me show here. I think yesterday, Shraddha asked, right? So what is the baseline kind of thing? At very first time, it is baseline is a kind of, as I told you, right? They are going to maintain some kind of algorithm. What they will do is, for see, at very first time, single time only I have ran this math specification. So if I run multiple times or 10 times a kind of thing, they are going to specify a kind of, they are going to run a kind of algorithm at the back end on all the 10 runs kind of thing. They will specify some kind of baseline. Based upon this baseline, they will say, like, whether this one is increased or decreased. That means the data duplicates are increased or decreased kind of thing. They are going to show you. But right now, it is it very first time, single time only I have ran this math specification. That is the reason why you are seeing it here any values. So these are the current results values. If I run another time kind of thing, then you can see some values here, and it will compare the results between current and baseline. Okay, so let me change this match and clerical values. So here now I came to know that 5.92 and 6.51 it is going to generate, right? So if I specify 6 as my what I can say the match value, and the clerical as 5. Okay, let me run this report again, and we'll see. So just look at this report, whatever the report you are saying it here, all are master records and duplicate records, because of the weight is greater than the match cutoff for all the records. Now I adjusted the match and the clerical records, so now I'm going to save with the current pass, and run this. Now if you look at here, and for whatever the record, you are seeing the weight is greater than match command, sorry, the match weight. So that record you are seeing here is a master record, and the weight, the composite weight of the entire group, if it is falling in between 5 and 6, then those records you are seeing it as a clerical records. But even if it is, like, for each and every record, the MP record is must and should. MP record is nothing but a master record. That is must and should. either CP or DA, those are going to be changed here in a group. Okay, so earlier this 5.92 group, before I specify these new values, all these are in the matched records. That means MP, DA, DA, you are seeing it here. So what is happening is the whole group, the weight, the composite weight. So it is greater than the match cutoff earlier. So that is the reason you're saying this whole set in the master records. Right now, the composite weight, whatever you're saying it here, 5.92 or whatever you have, the weight, that is less, that is in between 5 and 6. That is the reason the whole group you are seeing here in the clerical records group, and the 9 and 9 for this set you are seeing the data rate 6.51 you are getting. So that means this is greater than match cutoff. So that is the reason you are seeing these two records in the matched records. Similarly, the cutoff, the clerical records, wherever you're seeing the composite weight of this set, this group, if it is in between clerical and match, that then that group will fall under clerical records or nearest matches or whatever we can say. And the group which has the greater than the weight which is greater than the match cutoff, then we can say those are the matched records. And if you are getting the weight for the whole record or for the group, if that is less than 5, we will say those are the non-duplicate records. So three sets: match, clerical, and non-duplicate, we can say. Okay, these sets of data you can see at the end. Even if you run this the match specification by using your match job, so you will see the same results, same set IDs, same record types, same weights. You can see this exact information. Okay, so only in this, whatever we discussed right now, if you guys have any queries, how it is identifying the match or how it is identifying the clerical, based upon the cutoff weights and the name, the match, how to specify the blocking columns and match commands. If you guys have any queries in this session, in this topic, you just let me know. Otherwise, I will try to modify, I will try to add another thing, I will try to show, I will try to run the report and I will show you. And then we will see how to use this one in a job. So once that is done, then we can do the other things, what different types of match types we have and how those are going to be looks like, the everything we are going to discuss. So just the basic, you should know how to specify the blocking, how to specify the name, how to specify the cutoff values, how to give the input data. These things you should know. If you guys have any queries specifically on this, let me know.
Gopi, so where the composite weight is less than clerical, that will be the residual records, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it is less than clerical, then obviously it will go to the residuals. And if the composite weight in between these two weights, those are always go to the clerical. But if you look at the job, they have given match for match records, they have given one output link, and for clerical, they have given one output link. But at the end, what we have to do is we need to club them. Then only we can get the proper output. What is the master records and what is the corresponding clerical or duplicate records in the output. And what I'm saying is in the match stage, unduplicate match stage, if you look at there, they have given 4 check boxes: master records, clerical records, residuals, non-residuals kind of thing. But what we are going to do is we are going to club the master
So,
records with the
what is non-residual?
non-residual is a kind of non-duplicate records, right?
So I mean, in which category it will fall? Say, for example, for match records, we have greater than 6.
Mm-hmm.
For clerical, anything between match and clerical values, and residual will be less than the clerical values, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the fourth category?
Non-residuals, they are saying.
Yeah.
That is, if the matching is, that is not at all matching any, it didn't find any kind of matching, if there is no any kind of duplicate record, anything which is not match, if it is not even found a match, a single match kind of thing, those will go to the non-residuals.
So, what code it will be assigning for that particular record? Can you show us some example like?
Codes will not be there for that. for see whatever the
Okay.
records are falling or whatever the records are going to this matchings and all those things, then only we'll get the codes. Those are like in the initial stage itself, those will get like separated, so you will not see the
Okay.
codes for that. So
Okay.
basically whatever you're like see, here only it is trying to identify what is the master and what is the clerical kind of thing, right? Here the codes will get generated. So for those things the codes will not get generated, and the
Okay.
set IDs and the weights and all those things you are getting it here. Okay. So
Yeah.
Giri or Gopal, you guys have any queries on this one? At least like specifying this and try to run this and see how the results are coming in. And then like if not, I will try to add another thing. I will just show you how we can use this mass specification in a job, and then we can come back and we can see the other options whatever available here.
Oh no, Gopi, carry on.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so just to see the different results, let me add any other column just for our this thing. Um, Let me go to this one, not this one. Let me select another one. Let me try to run this one, either this match frequency value presented or not. Once it is presented, it will run the code. Okay, let me do one thing. What is happening is whatever the match specification I have selected, sorry, the frequency values. It seems I think a few days back when I asked me something, I removed the columns from the math specification. It seems. Let me place that back so that we won't get these type of error messages. The thing is, what is happening here is in the match frequency, in the stage properties, in the output, sorry, in the input. See, only name, SSN, and unique identifier only we have selected. So if I'm trying to select address line 1, because in the frequency file, as I told you, right, one data set and one frequency file we need to pass. So if it is not able to identify any frequency information for that particular column in frequency file, then it will throw those type of error messages. Just now we are seeing, right, this error message saying that address line 1 is not presented in the frequency information, and some other column is not presented in the address information. That is because of the whatever the columns you are using for your matching or blocking or whatever it may be, for those columns the frequency information must and should. So what is happening is here we just selected only name as an unique identifier. Think that day when I asked me something, so I removed all those columns. I just kept only these three columns. Let me add all the columns so that you won't get those type of error messages. So let me rerun the job, then I can run that match specification. Yeah, so one more thing let me tell you here. So right now we are generating the default match specification. That means for each and every record, for each and every column, it will try to generate three different types of frequency values. QSC, QSN, QSM, something like that we have seen for each and every column. So that is because of we are generating the default frequency report. Right now you have the match specification, right? Because you define the match specification just now. If we want to generate the frequency file based upon that match specification, just to avoid these defaults and all those things, then you can uncheck this one, go to here, browse your match specification and select your match one. So what it will try to do is whatever the columns you have used inside that match specification, and what type of algorithm, like in the comparison algorithm you have specified inside that match specification, based upon that it will generate the frequency file. So in that case, that is a specific frequency file which you generated to that particular match specification only. So once you generate the default match specification, so if going forward, if you try to change anything in the match specification, then you can avoid, like, to come back and re-import that match specification again here, and like, re-generate in the frequency file kind of thing. If you just go to the default thing, it will automatically create all, like, the three different types of comparisons and all those things. So going forward, if you change anything in the match specification, in that case you don't need to come back and to regenerate your match specification. So that is one of the advantage. But the preferable thing is, once you define any kind of match specification, better to create the match specification which based upon that match specification. Don't generate the frequency, like, the default frequency file kind of thing. That is suggestible. That is not suggestible. Okay, let me run the job, or else let me do one thing. So now I regenerated my frequency file. Now I'm going back and I'm going to run my math specification. This time for all the columns I have generated the math specification. So this time it won't show any kind of that math specification related errors. So earlier I have used the address line one, but still it's showing some kind of error message, right? So now I have created the frequency file for address line one also. Let me run this job. Sorry, this math specification. See, this time it is not showing any kind of error messages. It's showing the test process, like, the test run is completed, and I look at for the results. Now I'm going back. now we can see the weights. This time I have added the address line 1 also, so then the weight is going to be increased, right? 12.43, 11.43, something like that we are getting. So if you change this one right now as per this match cutoff, so you may have one query like, the like in production, once you move the production, how we want to read, how we want to, like, change the values, the match and clerical values kind of thing. So for that, like, once you decide, like, before, in the development itself, you need to take different sets of data, different kinds of data, and you need to run your the blocking and the match commands and the cutoff values. Once you fix for something, like, the state is my blocking column, and name underline 1 is my match commands, and cutoff weight as, like, the 11 or clerical value as 10 kind of thing. Once you fix that, so how you fix that? Based upon, like, different runs and different sets of data. Once you fix that, then there won't, you will not change anything in, even in production or kind of thing. So once you fix it, you will move this to the production. It will keep on run based upon this algorithm, the blocking algorithm, the match commands and the cutoff values. And it will automatically identify what are all duplicate and what are all non-duplicate kind of thing. It will try to identify all of them. So one thing is, if the customer seen, like, any issues with the data kind of thing, then only you need to do some kind of analysis again, and you need to, if there is any need of, like, adding any blocking or any kind of match command, or if there is any need of adjusting these cutoff values, then only you need to do that. So once you fix it, you cannot do, like, every time changing the cutoff values of commands and blocking columns or whatever it may be. Okay, so let me specify um, 12 here, and it has 11. Okay. Yeah, this time you're seeing this weights, different combinations. What is the duplicate and what is the, what I can say, the clerical records we have, and what is the weight, and what is the data ID, and what is the set ID. So this is how, like, you just need to define, like, what is the best suits to your data, like, what is the cutoff values, and what is the match cutoff value, and what is the clerical cutoff value, and what is the match commands, what is the blocking columns. This blocking columns and match commands information, mostly your, not mostly, like, in your business only will generate, or will tell you, like, what type of blocking you need to use, what type of match commands you need to use it here, match attributes you need to use it here, because they will have the proper information, or they will have the proper knowledge on their business, like, what columns we can use mostly to generate the, to identify the matched records kind of thing. Once they share the information with you, just keep the default cutoff values here and try to run at very first time, just to see what type of weights it is getting generated. It is generating it here. So, and then based upon that, you will come to know, okay, so this particular value we can keep it as match, and this particular value we can keep it as clerical kind of thing, and just try to run multiple times and capture all those results and share with your business. Like, most of the times when you are working on the quality stage, most of the times you will work with your businesses, or, like, BAs, and your the actual customers. You are going to work with them to identify, or to the best, like, the matching, or algorithm, or the blocking criteria of the cutoff values. So if it is data stage kind of thing, like, once you get the requirement specs, like, you will just go through that, and if you have any query, then only will go to that. But here most of the times, like, it's a kind of what I can say, analysis, right? It's a kind of analysis which we are going to do. So requirement specs also, there won't be anything in your requirement specs. So they will just say like, use these columns kind of thing, and you are the one, you need to run multiple times like, with the different sets of data, and you need to identify, you need to generate the multiple reports, and those reports you need to show to them, and they will come to know, okay, whatever the weight is suits to your like, match and clerical kind of thing. Okay. Okay, so this is a kind of basic which we have seen. So we will try to run, or we will try to use this mass specification inside a job first of all, and we'll generate the report, and we'll see whether the same kind of report is coming or not. So once that part is done, like, generating the report, and how to use that, sorry, generating the mass specification, and how to use that mass specification inside the job, and if once you look at the report, then one flow is completed, then we will do some other things like in the mass specification, how to add another pass, and how to add like, how to specify the pass holding area or whatever it may be. That we will see it later. Those are like, advanced kind of thing that we will see it later. As a basic, first of all, we need to define the match specification, blocking and match commands, and the cutoff values, and how to run it. And we will use the same match specification in the job, and we will see that how it is working there. And then we will come back and we will discuss about other things. Okay. Um, yeah. So I think yesterday, in the Word document, I showed you like, what is the total statistics. So it is just showing the total statistics. If you want, you can select other what I can say, area of this thing, and sorry, another chart type of this thing. Once you refresh it, and you will get all those different types of reports and all those things. So this is a kind of analysis. Here you can see how like, they're generating different types of statistics here. How many data duplicates, and how many blocks are generated. Total 3 blocks are getting generated. And overflow means, I think for each and every block, I think at max 1,000, I guess. It should not increase like, 1,000 records in a particular block. So there is one kind of constraint, not a constraint. Even if it is greater than also, it can work. The better thing is, if you have only the limited like, around less than or equals to 1,000 kind of thing, you will see better performance. If it is keep on increasing the number of records in a particular block, again, like, to identify a match, it has to do the whole scan of the whole block, right? So then it will take some time. So they will usually say like, less than or equals to 1,000, I guess. So here we don't have any overflow blocks. That is what it is showing it here. So average data block size, they are calculating some kind of what I can say, the statistics, and they are keeping it here. Okay. These are like, your specific to your match pass one. If you have multiple passes, you can see another pass here, and like, the statistics which are like, specific to that match specification, you can see it here. These are the specific to match specification. This is whole like, on an overall, how many passes we have. This is a kind of like an average or kind of thing, it will show it here. Okay. So now let me design a job with this match specification, and then we will see the report, and then we will discuss about that report and all those things. Okay. Okay. So let me take the copy of the same standardization job. Okay, so now I have given the two input data sets, right? So let me give it here. Why we need two input data sets? One is like, your input data which is getting generated as an output from the standardization job, and the second thing is as a frequency file, like, for the particular data set. These two data sets only we have given inside that math specification, right? So there also, while testing the math specification, I have selected the data file and the frequency file. In the similar fashion, I'm selecting the data file and then the what I can say, the specification file here. So let me give the data file here. One moment. Yeah. So now I have given my input file and my frequency file. So when I open this unduplicate match stage properties window, here you can see the browse button to select what type of which match specification you want to use it here. So if I browse this one, then I can go to this one. This is my math specification. So this is one, just now we tested it by using this math specification designer itself. So this one I have used it. So for now I'm selecting the match, clerical, and duplicate. Let's take this one and then we can see all those things. So whenever I selected this one, why it's showing clerical 0, we have specified it as 11, right? One moment. Let me go back to this math specification. Sorry. So basically, once you select this one, automatically whatever the match and whatever the cutoff values you are giving it here, those should come there. So right now it's showing 0, that means the clerical value, whatever we saved it here, so that is not there. So let me save this pass and then click on OK. Now it's showing the match cutoff as 12 and clerical is 11 and the pass information. If we have multiple passes, you can see all those passes here. So if you want, you can override from here, but right now we will go with the default things and we will see it here. And I'm saying this match, clerical, and duplicate, right? So now I need three outputs. See here, DSLink 16 as a data and DSLink 17 as a frequency information. So basically, if you passes a wrong information, then you can adjust this one, like what is actually your frequency file and what is actually your data link file. And here you're seeing, right, match, clerical, and duplicate. So if I give outputs here, now DSLink 18 is your match, DSLink 19 is your clerical, and DSLink 20 is your duplicate. Okay, so 18, 19, and 20 you are seeing it here. So in the output, you just need to give, these are the matched records, and these are your duplicate records. And these are, so those are clerical records, these are the duplicate records. Okay, so let me give the output name. Seems it hanged. Okay, let me stop, come out from this one, and then I'll try to uh, re-log in. So job ran, and if you look at here, these are our matched records, and these are our duplicate records, and these are our, sorry, these are our clerical records. These are our duplicate records. Let's go and look into the data, like whether we are getting the exact information, whatever we have seen inside that match specification designer or not. So let me go to the end, because there it will add all our stage generated columns. Okay, so here QS match type all master records, because the first link whatever we have given, that is a master record, right? So all master records coming here, and the weight whatever we are getting it here 11.84 13.02. But you can get one query. So even why it is 11.84, even if the weight is 11.84, why it is coming here? Because we specified 11 as a clerical and 12 as a matched. So this 11.84 is in between 11 and 12. Though you are getting it is in a master record, right? That means there will be some other for this one. There will be either clerical or duplicate record that has the weight in between 10 and oh, sorry, 11 and 12. That is the reason why you're seeing the composite weight, whatever you're seeing. So that composite weight is in between those clerical and cutoff. So out of those two records, one is should be master records. So we are seeing that master record here. The corresponding to this one, you can see another record either in clerical or either in duplicate that will have the weight in between 11 and 12 kind of thing. So that is one thing. This is the internal algorithm, whatever the algorithm they have used. So out of this one, we don't have any use of this one. And this LR flag and exact flag, and these are all like for internal purpose. So what I can say is these guys are like using different types of algorithms. See, here itself we have used different type of algorithms, right? So for name and for address line one kind of thing. So their backend they are running a number of algorithms to identify the matched records, like the clerical records and duplicate records. So they are using like some kind of see, like how in standardization stage they are generating n number of columns, but we are not using those n number of columns, right? Whatever the columns we need, just one or two columns we are using it, though they are generating n number of columns. In the similar fashion here, if they are generating a number of columns, see, out of this we are using only this QS match weight, QS match type, and pass number is always like the one. Right now we have only single pass in our match specification, so that is the reason why you are getting only single pass here. But if you have multiple passes, you can get one, two kind of thing. So in which pass it is identified as a master record, or like in which pass it is identified as a clerical record, or like the duplicate record kind of thing. That information you can see it here. Right now I have only single pass, so all my records are identified in a single pass, either matched or non-matched or clerical or whatever it may be. So that is the reason we are seeing one here. And QS Math Set ID, as I told you, QS Math Set ID is nothing but a kind of group ID or set ID. So for whatever the records it identified as a matched records kind of thing, it will club those three or four records and it will keep one set ID. So, but these are the matched records only we are seeing it here. So that is the reason we have only one set ID. But if you take this 10 and if you go to your clerical or duplicate, you can see the other records which belongs to this particular set ID. And this data id is nothing but your what I can say, your input file record number. So this is input file record number. So 10th record, 12 22 records, 26 record which is coming in your input file, that is treating them as a master records here. If you go and look at your the other files, clerical and duplicate files, there you can see data id is different, but the set ids will remain same. Whatever the set ids you are seeing it here, the the same set IDs you can see either in clerical and duplicate, but the data ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that you can see, because those are the record numbers. Okay, let me open the other file so that you will get clear picture. This is our clerical file. So you can see all CAs, CA, I guess CA is the type code you can see here. Let me go to the end. Yeah, CP you're seeing, right? US match type, and the weight is in between 11 and 12. That is the reason why these are coming as a clerical records. And one more important thing is, if you look at this set ID, so for 10 record, one is in master record, but other two records which is like has a set ID is 10, those records in the clerical records. So these are the clerical records for that particular master record. And you see the data IDs are different. That means the record numbers 12 and 11, which is coming in your input file, those are identified as a clerical records for this set ID. And 17 you can see two records here. In a similar fashion you can see the duplicate records here. This set is only for the duplicate records. So here you have the set IDs, the same set IDs you can see in your master record also, but these are respect to duplicate records for those set IDs. And the cutoff weight you can see it here. This is greater than 13.02 or whatever you're saying here. So these are all greater than 12. The cutoff weight the I have specified as 12. So if it is the weight is equals to 12 or greater than 12, all are will go to the duplicate records. That means matched and duplicate records. and the weight, like if the cutoff weight in between the clerical and match weight, then those are the clerical records, and less than anyhow residual records. For residual records, anyhow we will directly send to the next process. That means those are the unique records. There are no duplicates for that. So we will directly pass those records to our target, or like whatever our next process. But out of these records, like I have identified matched records. That means master records. I have identified the clerical records. I have identified the duplicate records. But out of these three sets, what all records we need to pass to the next pass? That we need to discuss now. That thing is, first of all, what you have to do is you have to club all these three files. Okay, so then we will get one single set of all master records and duplicate records and clerical records. So as per the data warehouse terms, the clericals are nothing but like nearest matches. That means the system is not able to identify them as an exact matches. So what we have to do is we have to filter out the records, which the clerical records, that means including the master record also, we need to filter out those records and we need to put into the data stewardship, or we need to send to the customer saying that these are the records the system identified as the nearest or matched records. Then the customer can identify, because he has the owner of that data, right? So he can easily understand which name or which address line, like we can select, or like we can put it into our data warehouse so that he can correct the records, and he, again in the next process he will send those records. But whatever the duplicate records we identified, so those duplicate records we are going to apply the survivorship to identify the best record out of it. So why we are going to apply the survivorship? Because the system identified 100%, the system is identified as a matched records. So once it is identified as a matched records in the sense duplicate records we can say. So once the system identified them as a duplicate records, we need to apply the survivorship to identify the best record out of those five records or six records or whatever it may be. So why we are not applying the survivorship on the clerical record means clerical records the system is not sure. Those are like duplicate records kind of thing. The system is a kind of suspectable records or kind of thing. It is identified as a suspectable records. Then in that case we should not apply the survivorship as per the standard norms I'm saying. Then basically what we will do is we will share those records to either customer, or basically there will be one login UI page, like data stewardship we can say. We can simply push this data to the stewardship, then customer can log in and he can correct the data and he can send the data again back. So that is basically we need to use. Sometimes we are using the steward, like the survivorship and the clerical records also, but as per the standard norms, the clerical records basically usually we will share with the customer and the customer can correct the data. But whatever the records the system identified as a duplicate records, on those records we are going to apply the survivorship. Survivorship is nothing but four records. Let's take four records. The system is identified as a one set. So out of this set, we have to identify one best record out of it. So then the other records we will drop off. So anyhow, we are identifying the one best record, one best record. That record will go to your target system. Okay, this is what the actual process, like after the matching, what exactly we need to do. So you need to club these records and you need to separate all clerical and you need to separate all your duplicates. So those duplicates data you will send to the survivorship. Clerical records will go to your customer, and if there are any residual records, those are like a kind of non-duplicate, right? So those will directly go to your target system without applying the survivorship. Okay, clear this flow. And if you have any queries on this flow, let me know. Basically what exactly we need to do after generating the output from the match stage. So whatever I explained you, these are the things we need to do. If you guys have any queries on this one, or like any query in this job kind of thing, you just let me know. Okay. Okay, so if you don't have any queries, then it is a single flow. What we have done is in today's session, we generated a match specification, we identified blocking, we have given the match commands, we identified the cutoff values by running the match specification from the match designer window itself, and we have analyzed the results there. And again, the same match specification, I have used it here, and I have generated the output, and I have explained what exactly we need to do with these output files, like what records we need to send to the customer, and what records we need to send to the survivorship, and what records we directly send to your what I can say your target system kind of thing. So right now, if I put another link here, and if I take the residuals, those are all like those are not clerical records, those are not duplicate records, those are like unique records. Those unique records anyhow we will send to your target system. So if you want, what I can do is I will take those what I can say residual records also. If you look at here itself, I think Shraddha asked this thing, yes. What is the code it will get generate for this residual records kind of thing. So if you look at here, it will generate only the QS match data ID and QS match type. That means RD or RA, whatever it is going to generate. So you cannot see other what I can say uh, columns like weight and all those things, because in initial step itself the match component identified them as a contains in residual records. So in that case, it won't uh, generate all these weights and all those things. It will separate the records, and it will directly consider them as a residual records, and those records you can directly pass to your target system. So basically, what you will do is these residual records. After applying the matching survivorship, you will get one set of file, like the golden record file or whatever you can say. So we will club these two. We can send it to your next process. Let me show you the residual links, residual records. Residual is nothing but like kind of non-duplicate records. So it didn't identified as a matched or as a clerical. So all those records will go to the residuals, and these records are kind of unique set for you. You can directly send to your next process. So this is the code it is giving, and this is the data ID. So apart from that, there is no stage generated columns like what is the weight and what is the set ID and what is the other whatever we have. So those are not there. So it is simply saying whatever the ID or whatever the row number which you are getting from your input file. It is simply giving the row number, and it is giving the RA is your match type. So RAs are nothing but non-duplicate records. We will send these non-duplicate records directly to your system, and these duplicate records will apply the survivorship, and we will identify the best records, and again we will send that file to your next process. And whatever you are saying as a clerical records, those records we will put it into your data stewardship, or to the customer you are going to send as an email kind of thing. Okay, this is the whole flow for the unduplicate match stage. So this is the whole flow, and like when designing the match specification and applying testing that match specification from the match window itself, and using that match specification in the job, and like how to generate the um, output files, and how to use these output files, and what combination you need to send to your customer, and what combination you need to send to for next process. Okay, this is the whole flow. So in this, if you guys have any queries, just ask me. Otherwise, like we can stop for today, because like this is an important session and when I is offline. So I dropped an email, but I didn't receive any email from him. So we will stop it for today, and tomorrow what we can do is the same match specification. There are few other things, how to specify the multiple passes, and how to put the one match specification on the holding area. And there is one more important thing is, there are two other different types of unduplicate matches, like unduplicate dependent we have seen here, unduplicate independent, and duplicate transitive we have. So we will discuss about those two types, and these two steps, like the holding area and about all these things. Then we can jump on to the next as a matching area, like matching type, reference match type. Okay, so